So the next LHT flip car is this. You guys might have seen the post I put on Instagram. Manual, 6-speed manual, the mighty K24 VTEC motor, 200 horsepower from the factory. This is like the natural progression if you want a Honda sports car, but you need a 4-door, you've got a family. And if you've never seen pearl white in person, it's a beautiful color. So a few things we're gonna do. Let me go ahead and right off the bat, it's gonna need headlights. Not only the foggy, they've kind of got that crystallizing. It's like they're fine cracked. You're not going to refinish those. They're going to look terrible. Grill piece right here is broke. And this piece right here. Replace the trim and the centerpiece. Replace the headlights with some OEM replacements. There's such a good looking headlight. It really needs to have nice brand new headlights. So it doesn't sound particularly good. It kind of sounds like it's got a leak. I don't like the look of that tip. It doesn't suit the car at all. It really needs to be a slash cut tip. That, I believe, just has to go. That looks terrible. It doesn't fit particularly well. So interior is really nice, apart from the driver's seat. Driver's seat shows a bunch of wear. Everything else looks like brand new. It looks like no one's ever sat in the back. Passenger side is good. The rest of it needs just a good clean. Let's go ahead and take a look. The engine. The engine sounds good. Air conditioning works. Heat works. There's no power steering, so we're gonna have to find out what is wrong with that. There's fluid all over the place. Engine looks to be in really good shape. We'll go over this, of course, change all the fluids, put it on the dyno, verify the power, make sure it's healthy. A few other things we're gonna do. Almost certainly I want to change the clutch. I don't know, the customer said clutch was changed about 30,000 miles ago. It doesn't really know what clutch it is. Now, if you don't believe me that this thing creaks and groans, imagine driving this every day. That was better. The wheels need refinishing. We're going to look at the condition of the brakes. We're going to take these over to AB. Now the tires are mismatched tires. I think it's got Firestones and Michelin's on it. This isn't even a Firestone either. Tread doesn't look too good. This is driver's side front. Driver's side rear has a Bridgestone. Again, a little bit of damage on the wheel. Passenger has a Firestone F1140. So mismatched tires, this isn't something you want. You want all your tires matching. And as I said, with the Silver Dancer, if we do this, we want it to be ready. Whoever buys this car, we want it to be ready to go. We don't want you to have to leave here and immediately get work done. So we want to make sure we cover all our bases. All right, back. Brake pads look pretty thin. You're about at their limit right there. It's going to need rotors and pads in the back for sure. Front brakes don't look too bad. Pads are probably about 50%, but you know what, probably replace those too. Let's just do brakes all around. So the exhaust sounded kind of goofy. Let's see what's going on with it. So one thing I didn't like is this tip. I think it looks kind of goofy. That's just the baffle falling apart. So this is supposed to be a Feels exhaust, which is the JDM.
Honda Twin Cam.
So this is your JDM stuff falling apart right here. Yeah, look at that. This is kind of a shame because so many people put a lot of faith in this stuff and think it's just super because it comes from a different country. So it's got a hole here where something's hit it. The piping, for the most part, it's got a scrub on the resonator, but it's okay. It's got another resonator there and the factory cat. So we'll leave that. We'll look at this piping. Maybe we repair this and we put new mufflers on it because we can't let it go down the road with mufflers falling apart. So the coilover, whatever it is, it's all leaking. It's blown out, whatever it was. It's red, whatever brand that is. Let's look at the back one. All right, back one isn't as oily. That's it, function and form, type 1. Wheels and tires in the bed of the truck. Let's go ahead and run them down to Austin and go over a couple of color options that he can do for us. It is so convenient, they're right down the street. Even when they were across town, I still went to them. They're that good. Good people and definitely good work. Hey look, there's Bruce over there. Should have had Bruce deliver him. He's like right here.
This is what I usually do for, like, that's what I did on Jeff's wheels and your one set of wheels.
Yeah, that's a good looking color.
And then that's the one with metallic. That's the one I would do with the white car.
That one?
Yeah.
That actually looks pretty good.
We can do the bronze with the white car.
I don't... Would you do bronze or would you do gun? I kind of like gunmetal.
On a white car, bronze would be... Yeah, bronze boy.
Really? Yeah, I want to tie it into other things on the car though. And the center caps, I'm going to have to probably paint black. Which would you do? This one or this one?
I would do this one with the black center cap.
Pearl and bronze?
We'll both have some pearl in it.
Will you give me the no suck guarantee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I've done it already before and it looks absolutely sharp.
Okay.
Because it's darker hue.
It brings the black in because it's got a little bit of a black background. Yeah. So my idea is this has like a step down.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's pretty deep too. So I'm thinking do this whole thing in black and then do the step down in a color to bring out the car somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll stick to the gunmetal.
Done. What's the color called?
Sportster Gray.
All right.
Easy
Sold.
enough.
I like this one. This is one you did Jeff's and my Integra wheels. I like
yes,
that, but
the Integra
that
wheels.
would look good on the white car.
Yeah, it'll give it some poppiness.
Yeah, a little bit of flavor. While I'm taking this long drive back to the shop, the idea of this white car is to make it ready for someone to drive. And this is a good example of the type of thing that you would run into if you buy a car and it's a used car and it seems like a pretty good deal. And then you take it to a shop and they go through it and they find all these issues. Well, it can get quite expensive. Now, you can buy used parts. You can meet people at a gas station on a Sunday at 2 o'clock and the guy probably won't show up to buy parts. And then you're not really saving any money. You know, often the used parts that you buy are no better than the ones that you had. You want to keep those?
No.
All right. Should we give them to Negative Nancy over here?
Yeah.
Do you want those rotors?
Why am I
Put you on the spot, didn't I?
I am not negative.
You are like, oh, it needs that, needs wheels, needs tires.
No. I'm
now you
not.
found out the rack's no good. So at this point, every time she pops her head out of the office, it's like we're adding to the list. We're like, order this part, get that. We have a list and we keep adding to it. So it's to a point where she don't think it's that good of a car. We can still see the diamond in the rough, but it's a lot worse than I expected. The rack has blown out. That's the power steering issue, which kind of sucks. It's an expensive rack, and the power steering doesn't work, so it feels awful. But we're getting it. We're going to get rid of that crappy suspension. Control arm is fine, but Esther's over here telling me we're spending way too much money on this car. That's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So that's a bunch of scraping and squeaking from that. The back was worse. Driving it. So we found something else that's bad. Let me show you what else we found in here in the car. So compliance bushing right there. It's broke. You see it's completely separated. So that's metal on metal right in that spot right there. So there's a bunch of noise from it. So everything kind of combines and makes a noise together. It has adjustable upper control arms, which is nice because we do want to run it a little bit lower than factory. We're not going to jack it up. It's not going to be quite as droopy as it was, so that's nice. That way it can be adjusted and make the camber correct. Dirty hand, Negative Nancy. George just made a pick up a rotor because she's telling us how much money so we're doing wheels, refinishing the wheels. Austin's doing the wheels, new tires, new brakes, new grille, new headlights, new coilovers. Now we found out it needs a new rack. One of the bushings is bad. You're gonna love this car. When it's done, I'm gonna make Esther drive it because she's gonna go, wow, a manual TSX, pearl white.
He loves to prove me wrong.
I do, that's what it's all about. So you guys are gonna love this car. If you're not on Team Esther's side or Team Nancy, be on team LHT side. We're gonna make this car beautiful, and then we're gonna convince Lisa that it's an awesome car. She's getting, see, now she's getting involved. She's trying to love it. You gotta feel it. You gotta feel the love. So the brackets are in good shape, but they're like dirty looking. This is something that Honda never refinish, do anything. They put like a really, like a nickel coating on it, comes off and it leaves just like a yucky rust. So something that just looks nice behind a nice fresh powder coated wheel or a refinished caliper. So part of doing the brakes, we're gonna refinish the calipers. We're gonna send these out and have them done in what color? First color comes to mind. I like gold.
Purple.
No, neither one. That could be the tires. So it's not Bruce, it's the other guy. You know, we tried to talk to this guy, but it's like he doesn't like us. These, you can see how oily they are. They're blown out. The teen ones are much beefier. You can see how much larger the body is on the teen. The coils are much bigger, the base is bigger. Obviously teens are much better brand. I don't know this brand, I'm not gonna rag on it, but I can tell you I wouldn't buy it. How's it good?
It's good.
Oh, this is a cool song. Oh. It's backed by popular demand, the LHT Olympics. So we're gonna shot put one of these into the green bin right there. So George has two. Esther's involved this time because
a towel.
She's got a towel because it's super dirty.
Do I have to let go of the towel too?
Do whatever you need to. We can get the towel back.
Okay.
Don't hurt yourself. All right, chuck it. Oh, next, and go. Nice, good job. All right, let's get a wider angle. George is going to try and show off and do it from 250 feet.
Oh, overshot.
Nice.
Right? One shot. Done. Swish. George. George, you're over two.
George is over two, one up the building. Brakes over here. So this is as far as he brings them. You see, that's how much he doesn't like us. He doesn't bring them in the shop. He leaves them half outside. So this is what I decided to go with is the Ventus V12 Evo 2's great tire. Decided to go with 10 millimeters wider than factory. Used these tires in the past. They're actually pretty good for the price. They're about 140 bucks a tire, something like that. And we've had good luck with them, with a good tread pattern, and of course, all matching. That's kind of a bonus, right? But yeah, the factory is 215, so it went to 225 just to give it a little bit more of a square look on the wheel, rather than the tire kind of, you know, tapering in. It's a bit more straight up and down. Looks a bit more aggressive. Tires over there. The good news is we got Esther on board. So Esther is on board now. She's now looking. She's taken interest in it. She's invested in it. See? You're in. You're in.
I'm always in.
Don't talk you out of it.
I am never out.
We'll let the viewers judge. She's in now.
I'm never
So she's
out.
found a seat. Shows this real quick.
Yes.
A seat bottom on eBay for 194 bucks.
Plus shipping, 25. And that's
And
the part that's bad with ours.
That's the worst part. Our back is pretty good.
I think
Matt.
she might just be into it just to let us know what else is wrong.
No, we're just kidding.
That is just, that would finish it.
I know.
Again, it's all about the little details, and that needs it.
I'm just kidding. The back is actually pretty good. We can clean this. You see it's got splits all the way through here. And it's just generally, bleh. Which is a shame because the rest of it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, the back is mint.
I mean, it looks like never sat in the back. So if we can just get the base, we can clean this. I think this will come out, maybe dye and blend it. This will clean up. It'll make a big difference. That needs to be fixed. It's like the screws are pulled out. We should be able to repair that. Go get a screwdriver and start taking it apart, Esther.
Oh, okay.
You can fix that. You're invested in it now. You and your boyfriend can take this out on a date when it's done.
Oh, yeah.
He might even buy it.
I'm definitely going to use the back seat.
Yeah. Oh, easy. Front control arms are off, the compliance bushings just arrived. So we can press those out and press the new ones in. This is one of those things that just adds up. If a little bit of groaning and creaking, it makes the whole car feel and sound like it did. This one's absolutely destroyed, look at that. And again, it's one of those things that you somewhat got to expect on a car that's over 100,000 miles. These, believe it or not, are actually pretty tough. They don't usually have an issue. They're more of like a solid bushing, but it seems like anything that has this, you know, that has the air gap around it, they're the ones that always seem to break. So that will take care of that looseness. So I'll tell you what sucked. I ordered a full clutch kit for a TSX, which this is the part number. This is OEM, the pressure plate and disc, and then find out that the car doesn't have a TSX flywheel in it. It has an RSX flywheel. So we're waiting for them to pick that up, and the new parts just arrived. These are RSX, RBC. Pressure plate right there. That's your part number for it, and you just saw the disc. That's your disc. You will need an RSX flywheel, which just gives you a lot more options. I didn't do enough research to find out what flywheel was in the car before I ordered it. I wanted to try and have everything ready to go. The flywheel for the TSX is obviously much, much heavier, so we're going to send these back. This one's done, back together. Refinished the caliper, re-greased everything, new pins, the whole deal, pads, rotor. This one feels good. So let me show you what I found on the other side. Yep, that one needs a wheel bearing. I should be shocked, but I'm not. K&N filter, so the sticker, even though we removed it because we didn't like it, it does need to be cleaned, but at least we don't have to buy a new one. That's one thing I don't have to buy. So nice thing about K&Ns, you can wash them. Buy a K&N filter recharge kit is what they call it, and that's what it saved going in your engine. And that we didn't have plans to really change the intake, you know, without really changing anything else. But you see how the factory Honda box works is it has the tube, if you see it, right down here. If you look at it from this direction, from the front, the top of the box goes to the intake, obviously with the panel filter. But when you remove this, you got a big resonator down here, which is a huge box, and it comes up to this guy right here. So it's drawing the air from here. This is a little cap to kind of divert the air, obviously to stop things dropping in. But that is your resonator box right there. A lot of it is for noise. So we're thinking we're going to remove this box. This is something we've done a lot in the past, but just showing you on this one, remove this box, and then the intake is going to be drawing air from this location. So any air that's available from the front is going to be directly available to the box. So you're going to get a little bit cooler air and a little bit more intake noise, which is what everybody's looking for anyway. This is that tube. So that you could essentially run a tube from here and run it out to the bumper for a ram air effect. I've got to press this out, and I don't have the exact piece to do it. If you look at this, this is a piece of 3-inch stainless, and it's just a little bit oversized right here, so if it pushes through, it's not going to go past it. It's not going to push through, obviously. So we need that diameter there. So what I'm going to do is split this tube and reduce the diameter. So one thing to make sure that you mark this spot here, this is an OEM mount. There is arrows on it too. You see that right there? And that's obviously the direction that it's meant to go back in. So always take a measurement picture or something, so you know which way it's going to go. So I cut this much out here. So what you would do is measure the diameter of this, times it by 3.15, gives you the size of the circumference here, and then obviously minus out to get to your diameter, hence a gap about this big. So what I'm going to do, it doesn't have to be absolutely precise. I want to pinch this in a little bit, bring in the diameter. Interesting, the transmission is actually lighter, and you can see why. It's got the stamp over here. It's actually a magnesium case. See that right there? Of course, a lot of the bolts are different that go through magnesium cases. They've got the part that goes through here is painted. Pretty interesting. So you can see the clutch. We don't know what it is. It's shiny. So the clutch actually doesn't look too bad. It's an Exedi clutch. Now, don't get this confused with an OEM. It's not an OEM clutch. Exedi do not make it for Honda. A lot of people believe they do. It's not true. Kind of dry in here. This is the motion when you're pressing your pedal. This is what is moving right here. This is something that's so important. It needs to be properly cleaned and greased. I'm willing to bet this is not an OEM bearing. I'll clean it up. Almost guarantee it's not. If you bought it from Exedi, it's just a bearing, which is what this appears to be right here. The flywheel that came out of it is a billet flywheel. Again, not ripping on anybody, but if you see on eBay, they often offer eBay clutches. They use a flywheel, and it's marketed as Exedi clutch package and flywheel. Well, flywheel is a no-name brand, and it's got some ridges on there. It's got a pretty deep one right here. It's not terrible, but we're all about doing things right and making it OEM. We're not going turbo supercharged with this, and even if we were, I don't think I'd go with this. So we're going to put a factory Civic Si flywheel in there. We're just going to go ahead and surface it, get it put in. I'll bring it back here in a minute. We just dropped it off, but just wanted to show you what this looked like here. Putting the new one in. Again, make sure our marks line up. Now these go in one way. There is a slight taper to these, so just pay attention which way it goes in, which way it comes out. I forgot to mention that. We got this started. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the press and get it where it balances out, and you saw it kind of had a index mark right there. Just a small amount protrudes each side. There we go right here. There's one done, one to go. Perfect. New flywheel is on there, new surface flywheel. Anyway, Civic Si flywheel, 15 pounds as opposed to about 10 of no-named quality. This is the factory part number for the bearing. Now, I get asked this all the time. I get stopped on the street, George, and asked this, hey, is an OEM the same as a Nachi? Well, Nachi is the OEM supplier that sent it to Honda. Honda put a bag and a part number on it with their logo on it and call it a Honda part because it's the one that Honda choose. So if you use a magnifying glass just on that edge, you can see the words Nachi, or Nichi, as I used to call it, and everybody corrected me. So now, you call it Nichi, I call it Nachi. I don't call it tomato anymore. Actually, I do call it tomato. What am I talking about? Both bushings are in. Those things are ready to go back in. Let's finish the clutch. Then we're going to put the rack in there, and then we'll start putting it back together. But this is going to change the car completely. All of that sloppiness is going to get tightened up immensely. Talking of sloppiness, you remember our noisy noise? Well, here's the whole complete hub assembly with bearing. That's the way they sell it for these. They don't sell it as just a bearing, which is nice, because that means we just change the full bolts in the back and bolt it on. It's ready to go. There we go. Smooth. Look at that. It's easier to do the rack once the subframe is completely down. So here's a new rack. Now we're not going to get it exactly in the same position. Is we're going to measure from a point. We'll measure the threads here, is what I'm thinking. This has new ends on it. We'll pull this up right here. We'll measure so many threads here and put this in the same point. And then with this straight, I'm thinking we get a measuring point here to the rack and get it as close as possible. And then from there, we'll adjust the steering wheel and get it aligned. But we want it somewhat close. So that's what I'm thinking. Let's get a good measurement here and measure the amount of threads we have here. Clutch feels like butter. It really does. That is so soft. Headlight time. So we're taking the rest of the parts off here. Now it does have a valve cover gasket leak. You see there's a bunch of it coming from this, and this grommet right here is also leaking down the back. So we've ordered that, we're still waiting for it. So we're leaving this together until those parts come in. Should be hopefully any day now. Then we'll wash this once we get this replaced, give this engine bay a nice clean up. Of course, we're gonna have to start putting power steering fluid in there. Control arms are back in with the new bushings. Went ahead and cleaned those up too. Everything is looking good. What a difference, look at that. Nice, crisp black housing. Headlights make massive difference. If you ever watch any of the K-sites we used to build, I was always a big stickler for buying brand new headlights, and of course I used to black housing. These are black housing already, but it makes such a difference to the overall appearance. Caliper brackets are refinished, so I did spend some time cleaning these guys, and look at that, we have a whole new set, so that'll freshen it up even further. Is all the pad hardware just looks nicer when it's all in there. Look at that, beautiful.
Which is, I'll tell you about another thing.
Oh, that one's no good.
There's like loose chrome and everything in there.
Yep, that's broke. Seat cushion. Alright, good job, Esther. There it is. We'll go ahead and clean this, get this installed. Should really wake it up. New part is here for this. We're going to reuse the Acura badge. This should be here any day now, and you see. So I'll break it, look. It falls apart. So this should be here today, and we're going to refinish this, take this off, send it out, get it painted. This piece is so nice, it's almost a shame to black it out. Like I mentioned, unless we black everything out on the car, you know, the door handles, the trim here, you know, all that trim, the badges, it's going to be too much work to do that properly, and it does kind of look a little classy, I think, on white. So let's leave that stuff chrome, and we'll concentrate on the wheels looking right. This is going to come chrome, this is chrome, so I think we're just going to make this satin black to match the headlights and leave this chrome, because it's pretty much same color as everything else on the car, and it kind of goes with the whole theme.
Yeah, those,
Slow it down.
say no to drug games, things where you can't call a water pipe that one thing that everybody usually calls it.
There?
Yeah, see if that'll do it. It might be too far in.
Another plot of the book was,
That's doing it.
hey, now that we fast forward, it's not what it used to be, you know, like it's fast forward, you know, like. When today can take your business.
Shifter right here to me feels a little short and it's low. When you put your arm here in the natural like position, you're angled down. So your arm right here, not that it's a big deal, but you're rubbing on this here. This needs to come up. So I have another shift knob. If you look at this distance right here, see that? So we have another shift knob, the one out the hatch. So we're going to switch these around because the hatch could use a slightly shorter one, and this is weighted. It's a heavy knob, so it gives it that really nice precise feel. But this one is about 3/4 of an inch higher, so it actually feels a little bit better. So not a big deal, but it just feels more comfortable. Sometimes those super short shifters, they're not as precise feeling because first, second, third, fourth is so close together, and between the first, second, and the third, fourth, sometimes you can miss a gear because they're too close together. So we've let the power steering. Power steering seems to be working. We're all good there. Now you can hear the exhaust just when it starts up. Just rev it again. You hear it's got that kind of leaky, and oh yeah, more of this is blowing out. You hear it? Just rev it again. It's just got that leaky sound. It's just not good. That's one of the next things we're gonna have to address. All the brakes are back together. We have to bleed the clutch fluid, bleed the brake fluid, and that can cross off the list right there. It's like so nice to see all the black. You just wipe it, look. and it's clean. It's like nice clean black parts. There's no rust. And look at that, you clean it, the better it looks. It's good job one of us remembers to change oil on the compressor.
Just don't show the date I was supposed to do it. It'll be okay.
So AB just stripped the wheel and brought it back, and there's a little divot in the spoke, and he basically said, hey, now would be a perfect time to repair that, and then they can coat it and it'll look obviously a whole lot nicer. Everything else is in good shape. The lip was clean once they stripped it, so let's go ahead. I don't know if you can see that. Try and get out the shadows. There you go. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of weld on there and then slick it down and it'll go away. The exhaust tip we decided to go to is this slash cut, and I think that matches so much better. You see the slash is almost the same angle when you come back right there. If you get the tip, let me do it right, if you get the tip straight, see it's almost the same angle as the bumper, which suits it. Looks a lot more modern, and it's a nice short tips, polished stainless, so much better than this. And again, for you guys that like this exhaust, I'm not ripping on it, I'm just giving you my opinion. I think it just looks dated, which it probably is. Literally rusting from that's a good piece. Literally rusting from the inside out, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was the one on the bottom. Can you see the hole from the top that we couldn't see?
Yeah.
There it was. Again, it's classic rust. This is mild steel. See the rust building up over here? So many of the companies just paint their piping. So that's the last good bit that we're using. We've cut off. It doesn't have any issues, and this is in good shape. So
Yeah.
we're gonna come off here with our Y and split it into the duals, and then obviously run our mufflers back here. The mufflers we are using are MagnaFlow. One thing I like about these is the core is stainless. This is actually the core right here. It's a one piece. See that? There's no joins. So that is stainless. It doesn't rust from the inside like a lot of them. This is the whole entire thing is stainless. The only thing I don't like about these is they put a really yucky MIG weld on here. So if you buy one of the MagnaFlow polished mufflers, this is polished, and then they go over it with a MIG weld, which kind of ruins it. But we're going to be ceramic coating these black, leave the tip polished, leave the pipe in satin, do this in ceramic black. It'll have that nice stock OEM kind of stealthy look, which is kind of what we're liking. This is our Y connector right here, so we're going to build basically just the axle back. Then in the future, if somebody brings this car back to us and says, hey, I want you to finish the exhaust, or even you want to put a turbo or a supercharger, we can actually come from here right over here and go 3-inch forward. That way it's a 3-inch into dual 2.5s. Then we have plenty of capacity. The rest of the exhaust is good. It's got 2 resonators, does have the factory cat and factory header manifold, so we're not going to mess around with that. We're just basically fixing the damaged parts. But you're going to get an idea of how much better our stuff is than what was on it. This is the passenger side, which actually looks pretty good. You won't realize how bad it is until you start cleaning it. So I'm using Purple Power. I mix it about 30% to 70% water. So on your heavy spots, what I would do is put that on really heavy right there, just as kind of like a stain remover. That way it gets a little bit more and it gets working on it first anywhere you got a spot. So then put it on spray and just give everything a really good spray. Again, I used to buy it in the bottle. The spray bottle works pretty good. It's not amazing. You can see actually where it's lighter, where the stuff is actually starting to clean it. Now if you go to your local car wash, they often have clips to hang your mats up on the wall. and you can use a pressure washer. It's going to probably take 4 or 5 minutes, so I'll get plenty of quarters. Same thing on the back mats, even though they don't look that bad until you start cleaning them. Now, one thing I did forget to mention, when you've done pressure washing them, make sure they're 100% clean. It might take you an extra minute or so. Make sure the water is running clean, there's no soap in it, because when it dries, you'll get that kind of crunchy feel to the mat. You don't want that. Get it clean, get it completely rinsed, and then when you vacuum it, it'll come nice and fluffy. Pretty dry now. You see where it's still a little wet on the edge. It's best not to put these flat on the ground, because obviously the wet underneath, it's not going to escape, they're not going to dry properly. But to the touch now, they're still a little damp. Once they're fully dry, I'll go ahead and brush this. I'll vacuum it first, but basically if you brush it, you get those marks out, get them nice and fluffy, and they look like brand new. Yeah. Don't forget switch arms. Don't forget it's leg day. Put it in the Honda ridgeline, put it in the back. Yeah, just put it right there, mid-engine ridgeline.
There we go.
All right, get ready for another engine swap by Jeff.
I'll be back.
All right, Jeff. See ya. Austin just called me, said the wheels and tires are done, so of course I can't wait to see them. Even though it's just a flip car, I'm still excited to do this. It's exciting to build a car and see the transformation, which is what it's all about to see, obviously. Look how much better they look. That is fantastic. Look at that. That will definitely pull out the black in the center cap. That looks so much better. What do you think? That's a big improvement, and where will you see these things on the car? Back section is done now, nice and symmetrical. We just got to do the send it for the mufflers, get those ceramic coated black. We're going to leave the pipings. The piping looks nice, plus it looks have a little bit of definition when you look behind it. And then we can start on the fluids. It's got a much squarer look. It looks almost even with the wheel. It comes out a little bit, but I like that. Looks a little beefier. So I did finish the center caps in satin black. They look nice, and I thought they would work with the black in the wheel. It's almost got like a black and dark silver metallic in there, but I don't know, it doesn't quite look right. So I've got some graphite paint. I'm going to try a couple of different techniques and go over this black so it'll darken up the graphite. Much easier to get to than the S2000 behind the glove box. Yeah. A little bit of everything in there, isn't there? Wow, leaves, dirt, junk, a bug.
Might be a leaf.
Some weird bug thing.
There's a beetle back in here.
Yeah, beetle back there. Let's not play any Beatles music over this. Wow. So, again, another reason why you should change your cabin filter. Yeah, there you go. So, whoever gets this car, now you got a nice clean cabin filter. Clutch fluid is now flushed. I'm going to do the brake next. I'll show you how dark it was. It was awful. Look at that. We ran quite a bit through there to start to get clean fluid to come out, but it makes a big difference. It makes the pedal actually smoother when you got fresh fluid in there. Rest of the trim came in for the grill. Look how much better that looks. Now it's refinished. Looks like brand new. That looks spectacular. I actually like the chrome now. This is usually like a gunmetal. So now with that in satin black, I think that looks even better. This thing is going to look great. I'm excited to see this back on the car. First sound check. Gotta rev it a little bit. Got a pretty decent sound. It might be a little bit too loud for this kind of car. I'm not sure. I mean, this is a sporty car, but it's also a kind of luxury sporty car. That tip definitely looks better. See how much better that looks? That suits the car. That will be fixed. Just to recap, we have the factory manifold going into the factory cat right here. Then it has the two little resonators right there, little bullet, then a second bullet, and then we're going into our MagnaFlow mufflers. These are a straight through design. So it's not like it's horribly loud, but I'm just thinking the type of person that's going to buy this, maybe we can fit something in that hole right there. So if you watch our videos, you'll see that we use Tycon a lot. Well, Tycon are also stainless bros, which specialize in stainless parts, and their mufflers are fantastic. So I want to see if this will fit. This is an oval. It's 2.5 inch in straight, but it's a pretty good size oval. I think the can is about 10 inches long, but it's a good area. It's a good amount of area. This is actually a little bit bigger than the MagnaFlow, so if we can find a spot to put this, it will take a little bit more of that deeper tone out of it. It's almost a shame to put this under the car. Look how nice this sucker is. This is absolutely beautiful. This section we just cut out. When the muffler sits here, because of the thickness of the muffler sticking down from here, the muffler is going to take away too much ground clearance. So that's going to be the only piece left. We're going to go from here, we're going to lose that flange, put our muffler here, then build a new pipe over to our axle back right here. So the exhaust is going to be 75% new. 4 lug nuts per packet, 5 packets, 4 times 5. What is it? Don't calculate?
72.
All right, it's close enough. Not that anyone is going to really complain, but the ones that were on it just looked a little rusty. Hence why we're putting brand new ones on there. Anybody got an idea what this car is going to sell for yet? Certainly someone in the comments want to go ahead and bid, because I'm still adding it up. If you remember the Silver Dancer, we kind of had a number in mind and we just kind of rounded it up. We actually rounded it down a little bit, but this is kind of getting a little carried away price-wise, especially going to redo the exhaust. But like I said, we want to make it right. Want to make it so that when you buy it, you go down the road and, you know, be as reliable as possible. Of course, you know, it's a used car. Good thing about this, let me give you a couple of points. It has 150,000 miles on it. The good thing is these K24s are still cheap. I think you can pick these motors up for about $1,000. So nice thing about owning a car like this, providing everything else is done, if something goes wrong with the engine, it's a cheap engine. It's not one of these special year, special engine, got to get it from some little town in Europe that doesn't actually open until, you know, noon. It's a run-of-the-mill K24. I think 05 to 08. Actually, what's the year spread? 04? 04 to 08 is the motor, so, and it's a good motor. So the only problem making the middle piece this nice, that means this part now looks even worse than what it did. It wasn't very nice in the first place, but now we've made something so nice, it'd honestly be a shame not to just keep going and finish it, right? Maybe we're this far into it, we have the car on the lift, we have the parts and the ability, so Not only is George running a push to start on Uncle Ray, this is their new 8th gen kit from JDI. Look at that. So this is the button like I talked about in the Burt Hatch video. That comes with it. This is the antenna. These are obviously the parts. So you have the optional button from my kit, right? You're getting the red button.
The red one.
The red one is the one you want. This is the harness. Again, look, it's literally OE parts. You'd think this came out of a Honda bag. And this is the real surprising part. A bag full of jingly stuff. This is the first time, I don't know if anybody else has seen the 8th gen kit. This is fairly new. But this is like a hollowed out ignition switch frame to put back in, so all the plastic parts.
Yeah, because the
fit
plastic
back.
screw to this part.
Which is nice, because it's a lot better than a whole bunch of stuff just bouncing around. That is perfect.
Yep,
And of course the main push to start box right here. This is the key fob, and then these are, they're almost like a little sticker.
Yeah.
You can put those on the back of your key fob.
I'm gonna try and
put that on your phone.
I'm gonna try and put that inside my key fob.
I really can't say I'm sad to see this piece of exhaust go. It doesn't look particularly good, and once you get it apart, let me show you down this black hole right here. See that? It's kind of squished in the middle, and that's purposely done. That's to basically make the resonator more effective, but it doesn't really promote flow. I mean, in another way, it's actually quite horrible if you think about it. Center caps, so changed our mind from black. Now this is a graphite color over black, and I mean, it actually looks pretty close if I can get the lighting right, and you can see it's got some sparkle in it. This is what happens when you have to do it right. So now we've got the front section made, the middle section made, and the back section made. The funny thing is we did it piece by piece. We built this back section first, so it bolted to the Fields exhaust, and then of course fixed that middle section, so that would have fixed and fit the Fields exhaust and the front portion. So there we are. There's our new exhaust. Look how pretty that is. So it's pretty and it fits. It looks good. Next thing is, did it get quieter? It has to. This section here, this is about 3 times the capacity of the original resonator. This one here is about double. There's a quick tease at the height. So that's the height right there. That's what I like. That droopy look, the fender hanging over the tire, I don't like that. Again, you're coming from my perspective here. Everyone has their own opinion. That's what is so awesome about the whole car thing. Don't go by what I say. But if you follow my style, that's what I like. Front is too low. Front, when the tire tucks, I just think it looks a little bit droopy. It's not too bad. It's better than what it was, but it's not the same as the back. So let's get a sound clip, see what this thing sounds like. Hopefully it is noticeably quieter. That's definitely quieter, isn't it? It's got a tone to it, but it's not deep. That made a difference. I like that. So we wanted to have it fairly quiet. Again, based on the person that's going to buy this car. Not trying to categorize who buys it, but it's probably going to be a family guy. And if your wife is in here, you don't have to be making excuses all the time when you drive dad's car. Why is it so loud and annoying and the kids can't fall asleep, or the drone puts the kids to sleep. Not saying that that's who's going to buy it, but again, a loud exhaust gets annoying quick. So valve cover gasket is done. Next thing is to wash the engine bay. It's not horrible, but you're going to be amazed how well this looks. And then the plastic across here and the plastic across here is all freshly cleaned and dyed. This car is a perfect example when you're building a car, how things add up, and when you put so much time aside and so much money aside to finish the project, and you keep adding up and adding up and adding up. It happens all the time. It's happened on so many of our builds, but like this, it represents the type of stuff we do. We want to do it right. We want everything to be as good as it can be. Of course, we're not going to go crazy and repaint the car and put all new interior in it and brand new engine. It would turn into a $50,000 car, and it's an old car. We need to make it realistic, but it's just a perfect example of how things add up and how you can't stop. It's like you can't paint a bridge 60% of the way across, because then the other 40% looks like crap. You got to paint the whole bridge. You can't stop until you get to the other end, and you end up with a much better product, right? That's the end of today. We're going to be back here first thing in the morning. We'll see you then. I did get my haircut last night. Just so you can remember what the engine bay looks like.
Yeah, when I washed that back window, it was like sandpaper.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. We did a full wash and then a decon, and went over it again with clay, so it's got a pretty good starting point now. We're going to finish the interior. Sean is going to be here tomorrow to do a full paint correction. Next thing is to pull the seat out, replace that cover, and start cleaning the interior, get the interior ready. And when he is finished with the paint, it should really look like something. So we didn't wash it with the bumper on because that grille has fresh paint, and we don't want to have any issues with it, especially from washing the engine bay. So right now we put the bumper on and it'll start to come together. Those headlights are really gonna really gonna dress this thing up. So this part's junk, right? It's just not worth trying to salvage it.
No.
No.
It's broken, parts are broken here, and the hinge is bent where someone has put too much
This will hold
pressure
quarter
on it. I have a quarter to put in there.
That's actually...
Again, back to
yeah,
eBay.
that's far.
We just found one on eBay for $55 shipped. It says delivery December 14th through 16th.
That's not too bad.
And this one looks good. It's got the hinge. Looking in there. It's got both clips. Those clips, one of those clips we found bouncing around in the car. And it wasn't until we took the center console apart we found out what that did.
Yeah.
It was on this guy right here. So, okay. Well, for 55 bucks, we get all this working.
Yeah, we could all three be here for an hour, and that's worth more than 55 bucks.
Yeah, we'll just keep this just in case the other one's junk. You never
Yeah,
know.
well, I mean, the hinge, the fact that the hinge is bent, that isn't an easy fix.
Hey, somebody might need just this piece. Maybe they don't care.
Well, probably not. When it doesn't really come off from there, and
Well,
the whole
if
thing
you
is
got the thing
55
here,
bucks.
And then you could unscrew that from here,
You could sell just the top
just
part.
a leather bit.
Because somebody's leather bit might be
I'm
gnarly.
not even going to sell it. If you were watching this video, I'll
You
keep
want
it
it?
for a week. Esther will keep it for a week.
Yes.
Under
After
her
that,
desk.
we're going to chuck it under her what?
Under her desk.
Oh, okay. So we'll throw that up. We'll keep it for one. I thought you said something else.
You know what? With the size of this, though, this would probably fit in the USPS priority box.
Yeah.
So when the store opens up, someone gets that lid. The first like 10 orders, someone's getting that lid.
Someone's getting that lid. There you go. Esther's running the store. When by the time you see this, hopefully the store will be 100% up and running and fully operational. That's all right. I'll write it on. Somebody will copy it onto your checks.
Make sure you also put your thumbprint on there as well, and your social security number on the bottom.
Yeah, and your mother's made it in.
There.
What is that?
That's my
That's
signature.
just a mess right there.
Mine's even worse.
That's right. There you go. See, there you go. That's pretty.
All right.
That's
So
it. There's
just to
an
let
E
you
and
know,
a big W and all stuff.
that's Esther and that's George. Just in case you look at that, and you
It's
go.
basically just a
"Dang."
cursive G.
So this is the bit that we don't want you to know. We know how to do.
Yeah, we're performance guys. We don't know how to do this stuff, so
No.
don't ask us.
No, we don't want you to
don't know how
know.
to do it.
We know how to do it, but we don't want you to know we know
Oh.
because then we get questions. Hey, will you do it?
Hey, will you take my seat apart and replace the cover and build up the foam
No.
and make it look like brand new again?
No, but maybe we could show you how. This is what you do.
If you want to do it yourself, you do it.
You take the old one, take the good bits, find a newer one.
So this is the foam right here. You see when you're getting in a car and you roll the foam, rather than having that nice pointed area that's nice and firm, it gets all kind of soggy right here. That's when your cover kind of relaxes, and it makes the cover get more wrinkly. So when the sponge is tight, when it's got more shape, it pulls the leather up, and it gets rid of a lot of those wrinkles when you pull it straight like.
Good side.
So you see what we did? We took the firmest portion, cut the shape, cut this out, glued it in there. Now it follows that ridge. When the skin goes back on the cover, it should hold that shape. English Chocolate, Barney, thank you so much. I see you comment on our YouTube all the time, and we always have a chit chat back and forth.
The bounty.
Bounty, thank you so much, really appreciate it. You know, this is probably some of my most favorite stuff on the planet. Don't tell my stomach that. Hopefully you're enjoying the TSX. It is coming along. It is really, really starting to look fantastic. The front end, the grille, the headlights, the engine bay. I mean, is this a transformation of what? If you guys are following this, did you vision it was going to look like this? The wheels, the height is correct now. It's all kind of jammed up in the corner. I want to get some better shots outside, but I wanted to kind of give you kind of a heads up how it's going. I decided to give this a buff myself. I used my Adams Swirl Killer and a little bit of M205, and it's really starting to look like it's going to come up. I'm not going to continue. Sean's going to do it. Interior, this was the seat cushion that Esther found. We went ahead and cleaned it. You saw us put additional cushioning in there. We cut the cushion apart, fixed it with the old cushion. It put the bolster back in there, and now it's sat with a little bit of warm on it. Almost all the wrinkles have come out. It's got a little bit of a looseness here, but I mean, what a terrific change that is. Did a big time detail on the interior. A lot of shampooing, scrubbing, cleaning. We're gonna have to dress it now. We're gonna use some of the treat on the seats and all the leather. Maybe some of the Adams interior dressing. The low luster, which is the one I like. I don't like it to look super shiny and wet like it's got oil in it. But once the color correction is done, brake in the clutch, drive it around, get it aligned, put it on the dyno, verify the power, make sure it makes decent power. I mean, right down to the exhaust. This is such a transformation. We're both excited about this. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're getting some ideas from it. If you own a car, it isn't just purely about selling you this car. It's about giving you ideas. If you own a car, hopefully you've got some tips about cleaning it up and taking it to the next level. The back was pretty clean, but we did a full shampoo anyway. The more we shampooed, the cleaner it got. I haven't put the floor mats back in yet. Gonna let it completely air dry, put the mats back in. But this thing is looking great. Here it is, the new armrest. So it's in really good shape. It's got like a circle shape in there. I don't know what that is, but it's in really nice shape. I think we'll just go ahead and clean it. We'll put some dressing on it. We can install it. It's pretty good. Good find, Esther.
Thanks.
So we just need to give the other one away like we talked about.
Yeah, I don't think I found this one.
You didn't?
No, you found this one.
All right.
I found the seat.
Good job, John. John found it.
Way to go, John.
All right, let's go ahead and clean it. Listen how quiet it is now. You hear that? Even the exhaust is quieter. For a custom exhaust, listen to it. So just driving it around, braking in the clutch. You're gonna finish braking it in on the dyno, and we'll verify the power, make sure everything's happy. But what a difference now. I think I might tighten the shocks up a little bit. They're not bouncy, but they're soft. And I want a little bit more feedback from the car. It is a sports car. We want a little bit more sporty feel to it. Not a big deal. super easy to fix. Just turn the knobs on the top of the shocks. But we'll finish breaking it in and we're good to go. We'll do 3 runs. So any predictions? Anybody want to guess what they should do? It's a K24, 200 horsepower from the factory. You saw the slight airbox. I won't even call it a mod. All we did is take the bottom section out, so it's drawing this of it. It's cool air from down here. Makes a big difference, doesn't it? Yeah. So there's like 2 different things that open, and yeah, that's that tray, and then that big portion slides forward. Yeah, that really makes a big difference.
When you're little, it does.
Yeah, just a little bit of extra luxury.
If you're back here like you, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, in my Civic, I have that thing up here in my Civic because that's where I'm at.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right, we're gonna do another backup run just the same way it is. 4th gear while the engine's got some temperature in it. Just verify everything's the same. It should be. Sounds pretty good. It's very quiet. I think it really could use an intake and a header. Ready for the results? 178 and 179. But wait for it. Look at all that torque. Massive amounts of torque right here. So of course that is from just the ignition glitch. Don't look at that. Some people will actually quote that on forums and it kind of makes a chuckle. Anyway, graphs almost identical, horsepower and torque pretty much the same. 159 foot-pounds of torque, 179 horsepower. Even though there was a lot more parts needed and more work than originally expected, it's like my bridge theory. You can't finish painting the bridge till you get to the end. We wanted this car right, and it was a nice car. It just needed some love and a whole bunch of parts that were just kind of wore out. Nice thing, original paint, all the VIN tags are on it. I'd much rather see a well-kept original paint car with a few small scrapes and dings than a brand new paint job, because they never seem to hold up like the factory paint. And the Pro White looks beautiful. So the car drives absolutely fantastic. It's surprising how good these cars are. I mean, it's kind of like, if you know about these cars, you get it. A 4-door VTEC, 200 horsepower, 6-speed with the good suspension. Now it has coilovers, so you got a little bit of adjustability in there. But you've got the best of both worlds. You can enjoy this thing on the weekends, take the family out, take it to dinner, pick kids up from school, and enjoy the ride back and forth to work. I mean, that's what it's all about. And not everyone has the ability to have 2 cars, to have a family car and a sports car. So this is kind of like an all-in-one. Now, talking about the Flip Car series, hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Hopefully you guys are getting some ideas from it, which is kind of what it's about. It's not just about flipping cars and making money. Now, the idea of this series is to try and make a few extra bucks to finish the Burt hatch, because that is getting expensive, and the YouTube doesn't really pay that much to be able to build this kind of stuff. Well, talking of money, the amount of time and effort that went into this car, this one isn't going to make money. In fact, it's going to break even at best. But you know what? It's been fun to do. It is what I would say, I'm not going to use the word satisfying because I've become to despise that word. I would say it's been rewarding to take a car and bring it up to a level where you can enjoy it and it looks nice and it'll run for years to come. So I'm going to use that word. It's rewarding, and the car looks great. So I'm going to get Esther to drive it. I wanted, not that she was negative, she just saw the parts bill adding up and kind of realized this one ain't going to make any money. But I want to drive it, get her impressions. She does drive a brand new car, so to go from a brand new car to a 15-year-old car, it's sometimes good to get that kind of impression and opinion from somebody else other than the people that have put the time and effort into it. So let's get Esther in it, see what she thinks. Here we go. You're going to drive it now we've finished it.
Yeah.
It's nice and shiny. Yeah. It's got the seat that looks so nice after you track that down.
Yes.
And I tracked the armrest down and everything else. So you're going to drive it, go up and down the street with it, let us know what you think, and give us your true impression.
I will.
You know, if you don't like it, tell me.
Of course I will.
But if you don't like it, you're fired. But you can be honest.
I can be honest.
You can be honest. No pressure. No pressure.
No.
All right, go ahead, fire it up. Let's see what we got. Easy on the clutch, Esther. It's brand new. Well, at least you can hear it. You definitely hear the intake sound. I think I told you it's got a brand new clutch, right? So we've got enough dyno miles on it to dyno it, so it's not 100% broken, but just for some first and second gear running, it should be good. See what her impressions are. See what she thinks. You hear the intake.
Yes.
Realistically, what do you think?
I think it's awesome.
It's better than you expected, isn't it?
Of course, yes.
You got the SC on too?
Of course.
Wow, you always turn the SC up when you're gonna haul butt.
It's hot, I know, but it's hot.
It's hot, it's Florida. Tell everybody how hot it is. Did it tell you what the temperature is?
92.
Wow.
That's what it says, but that's just in the sun.
Yeah, 92 and it's December.
Yes.
All right.
But no, it's smooth and it's nice. Everything came out great.
It is. I'm impressed.
What's new?
Again, I was only kidding with you, but I knew you'd like it when it was done. We're a great team, aren't we?
Yes.
All right, let's put it away.
Okay.
So that is the end of the video. Esther is bringing it back. So we have had a massive response to this car. I'm not really in the used car business. I don't really want to be a used car salesman. It's been enjoyable building this car and seeing the end result. But because of the massive response we've had, I have a line of people wanting to buy it, and we have a local guy coming down to look at it. I don't want to sell it sight unseen, even though you've seen it in the video. I want you to come and touch it and feel it and see the scratches and the dents and whatever. So he is coming down, so maybe by the time you see this video, it might be sold. If it is, I apologize. I don't want you to be upset. We're losing money on this car, but at this point, we've enjoyed the content. We've enjoyed sharing the experience with you. Esther's enjoyed driving it. Alright guys, so meet the new owner of the TSX. So I could have sold this car like 10 times. Somebody, you won't believe it, somebody PayPal'd me the money without even talking to me, without even wanting to see it, just send the money. I just had to send it back. I've never had that happen before in my life. So thank you so much. I want to shake your hand. I hope you enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy the video and you see all what we put into it.
Absolutely, I will.
Look at that. That's his son. What gets better than that when your son drives a 75 car? That is awesome. All right, buddy. Drive safe and we'll stay in touch. We'll talk about another project.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.